new season is not the same as anyone else. So let's stop comparing. We got to look at ourselves in the mirror and do an evaluation. Whatever it is, I want to encourage you. Don't lose your patience with God. He has a plan. And if He promised you something, He will bring it to pass. Be encouraged. God's got stuff for you with your name on it. You've got access to it. It'll have your fingerprint. It will belong to you. You don't have to look for or desire anybody else's stuff. And what's inside of you, I promise you, it is filled with greatness and with purpose. And you know what? When this season of challenges is over, you'll look back at what your pain has produced, and it will all be worth it. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 8, oh my goodness, of Hope Talks. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether you are watching live, and I hope you are, or you're watching later on. Thank you so much for continuing to tune in, for having conversations with us, for sharing this, for participating. I love you and appreciate you so much. This is the season finale, the last episode for our very first season of Hope Talks, and what a wonderful time we've had. It has been encouraging. We have laughed, we have cried, we have surely been encouraged to hold on to hope. Listen, if you have not seen the previous episodes, I want to encourage you, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Facebook Live, my speaker page, and you can catch all of the previous episodes to catch up to today. Listen, if you do not yet have a copy of my book, A Pocket Full of Hope, I want to encourage you to go ahead and head on over to Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Barnes & Noble, wherever you can find online books, and purchase A Pocket Full of Hope by Ayesha Daniels, A Pocket Full of Hope for when your pocket is empty. I know it will bless you. And when you get it, talk back to me, post it, tag me, tell me what you think, tell me what your favorite parts are, some favorite quotes. I want to hear from you, okay? Listen, this evening is so special for our season finale. I have with me this evening none other than my wonderful, wonderful husband of almost 16 years, Bobby Daniels. I'm going to give you his intro because I know him. I don't need to read it. Listen, he is my pastor, my husband. He is the father of all my children. He is a studied professional, an undergrad in communications, a master's in family counseling, family and marital counseling. Listen, he is a wealth of knowledge, and we're going to bring him in the room. He's going to talk with us this evening, and we're going to have a good time. Those of you who know us know we love to cut up, so we're going to have a good time this evening. Let's bring him into the room, hubby. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. Careful. Distance.
You can take off the mask. Thank you very much.
Are you okay?
Yes,
all right,
thank
all
you.
Right, okay.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for agreeing to be not only our final guest for our final episode in this season, but also for being the only man to be on Hope Talks for the entire season. I've had my good girlfriends with me all these weeks, and now you are representing the men. So represent, okay? Okay.
Before we get started, I just want to talk about the green room. You invited me. The green room was dirty. The toilet was... I thought you were a professional.
Okay.
Do you know?
Okay.
All right. Too soon?
Oh, yes. Too soon. I'm sorry.
Right.
And I didn't get your rider either. I apologize. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, honey. And listen, all of the episodes of Hope Talks, he has been behind the camera. He has been producing. He has been putting everything that you see here only happens because of this man right here. So I want to tell you that I love you and I appreciate you.
Love you too.
And I want to thank Cindy, who has stepped in to produce for us this evening, since tonight you are in front of the camera. Okay, we don't want to waste any more time. Not that this was a waste of time, but we don't want to waste another minute. I know, Wendy, right? we're gonna get right into it.
Sure.
We're talking about hope now. I mentioned earlier that we have been married for almost 16 years now,
Mm-hmm.
and our journey is unique in that we had some challenges from early on in our marriage. We got married, and for those of you who don't know, BJ was living in Washington, D.C. I was living here in Canada, and
Yes.
when we got married, I relocated. And upon relocating, or prior to relocating, I had some major immigration issues. They didn't want to let me in, y'all. They didn't want to let me into their country. They asked us all kinds of
All
questions
kinds.
about um, our marriage, whether we were marrying just so I could get my green card, that kind of thing. That's what they wanted to find out.
Right.
And they actually denied me the first time I went to get my permanent residence. They denied me and they sent me back to Canada. They were like, you can stay here for 2 more weeks and then you got to go. And so that's how we started off our marriage. And you were living in Maryland and I was living here. And we had a lot of commuting.
We did a lot of commuting. I mean, well, basically, I mean, if we're going to tell it real briefly, very explicitly, they told you when they flagged us. What happened is when we came back from our honeymoon, we honeymooned in Mexico. And when we came back, they had no record of us being married.
Right.
And so they flagged her as what they call an illegal alien, but you've never been an alien.
Oh, thank
Never
you.
been an alien. They flagged her as an illegal alien and told her, you have 10 days to leave the country. And that was devastating. We were newlyweds. I mean, the home was prepared. We had already secured our first home. It was almost furnished, everything. And you had to leave
I
after
had to
10
leave.
days.
I
So.
had to leave. So now I've never asked you this, but during that time, I mean, I know how we navigated through it, but during that time, did you ever think, oh my goodness, what have we done? Was this a mistake? Like, was this God saying that these two should not be together? Was there anything like that? Any kind of thought like that?
No,
Okay,
no, never, never.
that's good to
I
know.
always, no, I always felt like we were, what is the line that we use from Tyler Perry's film when Maya Angelou is reading? Is from, what is it
I was
from?
always
I was always
yours. You were
yours.
always
You were
mine.
always mine. In and out, and in and out, and in and out of time.
Yes.
No, I always felt like that. I always felt like this was the will of God. I didn't understand why that happened in the beginning. Just why did this have to happen? Because we waited so long just to be together. I mean, we had our first kiss on our wedding day. We had a great time in Mexico. So to catch that on the way back with no real plan B,
Right.
it was devastating.
That's true. We had no
No
plan
plan B because we didn't expect it to happen.
Right, right. We didn't think that I would be living here and you would be living there for 3 months, 4 months?
3 to 4, almost 4 months. I want to say 4 months. Yeah, we lived apart as newlyweds. Yeah.
Right, right. So, so that was our very first challenge in our marriage, but we navigated through that. Eventually, I got my permanent resident status. I was able to live there. I was not yet able to work.
Mhm.
And so we found ourselves in a situation where BJ was going to work every day and I was kind of sitting at home twiddling my thumbs trying to find something to do, waiting patiently by the door, by the window,
Yeah.
looking out to see when he would come home. And for a long time we were very much reliant on your income. For a long time we were very much reliant on just you in general because I knew nobody there.
And can I also throw in that for our wedding, we asked people to give us money to bless us if they wanted to share instead of gifts. And while we had that cushion was absorbed with my flying back and forth,
Right.
because I could go to Canada, but she couldn't come to the States. So the cushion that people gave us to live off of and start our lives was absorbed because I had to fly to Canada so much to see her. So by the time you actually made it over, that was practically gone.
Right.
So we didn't start our marriage with a cushion or an amount of money to live off of.
We didn't start the typical way. And I think even with the little, if I could drop a lesson nugget in there early on, you said that you always felt like this was the will of God that we would be together. And if I could drop a lesson in, it would be to say that sometimes with the will of God, things don't go the way you plan for them to
Right.
go or expect for them to go. But it doesn't mean that God won't bring it around. God won't show you something.
Yes.
God won't grow you in the process. Right. And I think that's what he did for us. And we appreciated each other even more after that.
Absolutely.
That time. So fast forward now, because we have a lot to talk about, but fast forward now, after 10 years, we decided to relocate back here in Canada. And now the script was flipped.
Mhm.
So now you're the one that was the illegal alien, although they never called you that. You know, they're so much nicer over here about immigration. They never called you that, but you were the one that was in need of permanent residence
Mhm.
status, work permits, and all of that. And so then you became reliant, or we all as a family became reliant on my income.
Mhm.
And that was a challenging period. Can you talk about that and how that made you feel, how that impacted your faith in God, that period of time?
Well, honestly, the reason why I married you is because I saw green in your eyes when I met
You
you.
know
So
what?
I knew you were a bag of money anyway. So I mean, let's just no, I'm kidding. No, really, really, really though, it impacted me in a way from a male perspective. Before I talk about the spiritual, from a male perspective, not that my wife can't support me or help me, but literally, as you said, when we moved here, I could not find work. It was different. I was in a country where I only knew you. I started meeting your friends husbands, and that was nice, but everybody still kind of had their own lives. They also had a lot of distance.
Yeah.
And although I know you will challenge me on this when you get a chance, I consider myself as an introvert with extrovert responsibilities. At the core of who I am, I'm very shy meeting people. I don't like working a room. I don't like going around socializing. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. But my faith, I really had to lean on God and say, I didn't doubt why we were here, but I really had to stop and think, God, what are you doing in this phase? Because I had all of the degrees. I had an undergrad degree. I had a degree from the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. I had my master's degree, years of experience in certain areas, and could not get a job interview. It was very, very difficult to process because, again, you were working while I was trying to find things to do. I was
Right.
trying to occupy myself, putting in job applications. I mean, staying up at night on Indeed.ca, on setting up my LinkedIn, everything. And it was very difficult. I really had to. I think what made it easy is that you never stopped. Gosh, you never stopped. I'm not going to do that. You never stopped encouraging me. You never
I have it right
you
here.
never stopped encouraging me. You were always in my corner. You always, like, something's going to turn up. There were times when you would take off from doing what you had to do to help me to search. You would send me job searches. And I think because our marriage was so strong, and because you allowed me as a man to be vulnerable without crushing me or emasculating me, I think that's what really helped me through. We had to work through it together. You didn't say get up off of your hind parts and go find something, or you can go do whatever. You really, really supported me, and you were in my corner. You let me be where I was. You let me be down. You let me be whatever, but you never stopped encouraging me, and you didn't make me feel small because that was our state. So I appreciate you.
Love
Gosh, we're
you.
like we're like what, 13 minutes in
Right,
already,
right,
and I'm
right.
gosh.
But you know, that was easy to do. And this is, I know this is not like a marriage session or even a dating session,
Right.
but that was easy to do because I know you, because I know your character, and because I know your heart. And so when you know somebody's heart, you don't ever intentionally do something to break that heart, right? You don't ever do something to destroy or crush that person. And so, knowing what I know about you, I know you're a hard worker. I know you can't sit still. I know that you want to be doing, like, you'll fill your day from first hour to last hour if you can. So because I knew these things, I knew that this was just a season that you had to get through. And thank God, fast forwarding even more, because we're already 15 minutes in and we
Already.
still have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
But thank God for that season, because that was the time that we said, okay, you know what? You're not working right now. Why don't you go ahead and pursue some dreams that have
Mhm.
been put on the back burner? And for those of you who are watching, I'm sure there are some of you tuned in who have had dreams that have been put on the
Come on.
back burner
Come on.
that you can't pursue because you're doing a 9 to 5 and you don't have the time, or because you have children that you're
You have
raising,
other
or because
commitments.
you have
Yeah.
other commitments
Yeah.
altogether. And sometimes we long for that opportunity to pursue some of those dreams. And so here was an opportunity for you, because you weren't finding work, for you to do some of those things. And fast forward months later, here we are, not just Pastor BJ, but Pastor BJ, the actor, and writer,
Yeah.
the actor and writer, and you're getting to do these things that
Yeah.
we did not come here for you to do, but look how God changed it. And I know, if we can bring it back to the message of hope for a moment, not just for a moment, but to bring it back to the message of hope, that sometimes God will allow us to go through dry seasons. Seasons where we can't see clearly, seasons where what we planned for doesn't happen, seasons where it's the complete opposite, and it feels like, oh my goodness, what's happening?
And
Only
sometimes he just wants to test our faith. He will allow the dry season just to test our faith, our faithfulness to him, our loyalty. Because what he wants to do sometimes is give us much more than what we had before, but he wants
Right.
to make sure we're ready to receive it. He wants to make sure we're not going to jump ship when the goodness comes. So
Yeah.
if we can remain hopeful in that process, which is what I had to do. Thankfully, your father, he found work for me at the church that I could do, and that was very rewarding as well, because I was actually working with young people, speaking into the lives of young adults eventually, when I found the first stage of work. But it was I had to find some hope and believe that something better is going to come. And that's how I've
That's what I
always lived
love.
my life. Like if I can back up just a little bit, even before I knew you, real quick. When I used to work in radio, I used to live in Maryland, and I worked in professional radio. I had my own show. I was an announcer, and I was also the radio station's webmaster. Shout out to Cheryl Jackson and to Matt Anderson. Thank you for the opportunity to work. But I wasn't making money. I was making $6 an hour
Whew.
to do what they were doing. So I was waiting tables at B. Smith's. Shout out to B. Smith, rest in peace. I was waiting tables at B. Smith's in DC, and I was working on the weekends doing my radio show and their webmaster. I was getting about 12, 15 hours a week. And I remember I'd have to walk to the bus station, catch the bus to get on the train, take the train to the bus station, and walk in the snow to get to the station. So sometimes when I would get to the station, my boots and pants would be wet, from walking, and they would laugh at me. Some of them would laugh at me in the station, but I always knew God had something better for me. In other words, I was doing the creative, but I always knew there was something. I'm like, I'm going to keep doing this. This is going to open up a door. This is going to open up something else for me. And so those were the foundational years. And now I'm able to bring this hope into the marriage, into our family, and always try to be hopeful about what God is doing, despite what it looks like in front of us.
Isn't that so good, honey? And I love that, the way you put that. But hope in itself is the idea and the belief that there is something better. And for
Yeah.
us as believers, it's not just the belief that there is something better, but it's the belief that God
He will.
has something better for us. That's hope in a
Yeah,
nutshell.
that's what hope is.
So thank you for sharing that. And you have so many stories. You have.
I do. I
I feel like every time we speak and in this type of way, you have a new story that I haven't heard. But that was a new one with they used to laugh
They
because my
did.
pants. I
I'm
haven't
telling
heard that
you, they
part
did.
before.
They laughed at
You
me.
have great dad stories. That's what it is. One day our children are going to be like, okay, I remember when Dad used to tell us these stories. So, but that's great. And so there was this period that it was confusing, and God brought it all back around. And here you are working in your purpose, in your calling, working using your creativity, using your gifts. And isn't that what is your life? Tell everybody what your life's mandate is.
How many do I have? Our families is what? Laughing, loving, and serving.
Yes.
That's the way we train. Well,
That's
no, serving,
that's our family
serving, loving, and laughing.
mission. Yes.
That we will always serve, we will
Teach our children
always
to
love,
serve.
and
Yes.
we will always laugh, no matter what happens, no matter what, we're rich, poor, no matter what happens, we will always do those three things. And then, of course, my two
Your
mandates in
personal.
life are to serve and create. So, as pastor of Purpose Church, purposechurch.ca, just plugging it, as pastor of Purpose Church, I get an opportunity to serve. which you know my background working for Bishop Owens, working for him for 12 years. Waiting tables is where I got the foundation to learn how to serve, to pay attention to detail, to assess people and know what they want, what they need, to be sensitive to what people's needs are.
Yes.
B. Smith gave me that foundation to be able to serve.
I think, and we've talked about this before, but, and I know this is not a leadership training session of any sorts, but if I could plug something for the leaders and aspiring leaders out there, if you're going to lead, you have to learn how to serve. And I think your time, it was 10 years, was it?
What?
Serving tables?
Yeah, 10 years
10
as a waiter,
years.
12 years with Bishop.
I mean, that had nothing to do with ministry, but that time, I think that God used that time to prepare you for this day. Learning how to read a table, learning how to meet the needs of people, anticipate what they want.
Absolutely. That's one area. But you know what another thing serving did for me?
Yes, Janet. Yes.
It taught me. Yes, she says, say it again. Hi, Janet. One thing it taught me to drop my pride and not be too big or be humiliated to give something to someone else that and otherwise I could possibly not get anything in return.
Right.
It taught me to be humble, and it taught me the gift of humiliation without shame, because there's a difference. There's a difference in humiliation and there's a difference in shame. So waiting tables taught me, you get out on the floor and serve these people. You don't even know if you're going to get a tip.
Right.
You don't even know.
Or if and we got
paid $2.12 an hour. So after we declared our taxes,
I told you,
only thing you did is walk away with the cash that you made, because your taxes would absorb the $2.12 an hour. But it taught me how to give to people, expecting nothing in return, giving them the best that I had, giving them the clean glasses, the best food. If they weren't happy, apologizing, making sure they had what they needed. That was the foundation of servanthood. And then the other thing, which is my mandate in life, is to create. And I do that through my acting. I get an opportunity to tell stories. Again, we've written musicals, we write songs together. Those types of things allow me that creative, that wacky part, the voices that I hear, the whatever, the creativity, the zany parts of me that I like, that gives me an opportunity to do those things. So to God be the glory.
To God be the glory. So we thank God for the preparation period for where you are today, which you didn't even know was preparing you for today.
Right.
And again, I know someone is tuned in right now, and you may be in a period of your life that you don't even realize is a preparation period for what God is going to do in your life later on. Be in that moment, be in that space, be in that process, get what you can out of that process, learn from that process, so that when God does his thing, you can take what you've learned and apply it.
And can I jump in on that just for a moment? Another reason why we have to maintain our hope and be hopeful, especially when we're going through things, because how we go through things will determine how we are when we come out of the things.
Yes.
If you go through it bitter and angry and miserable all the time, when he does it, you won't appreciate the journey.
Right.
So we have to maintain our hope in the process, because I know it sounds cliche, but your attitude will determine your altitude, and recognize that what you have experienced is going to be a platform for you to use as a, do you remember when, and I hope I'm not going too far into your what you have lined up, but remember when your father passed, shortly after your father passed, I said to you, you have now been given another area of ministry. Because before, you could not relate to what it meant to lose a parent. I could. Both of my parents were deceased. But now you've been given an extra area of ministry. And some people don't want to look at their lives like that. Some people don't want to say, but when you recognize what hope is, and you've experienced the gift of hope, and you know what it means to experience hope and push through to another level, you cannot walk past another person and see them down and not offer them the tools that you've been given. So whether you want it or not, if you went through something with a level of hope, you have now been given an added area of ministry. And now you're able to tell people, I understand what it means, because before you couldn't. You could just say, I'm praying for you. So anything you go through prepares you to be able to serve others.
Yeah. And that's it. Ministry is not just church. when you say another
Right.
area of ministry, it's not just
Yeah.
church.
But servanthood,
Ministering
serving.
is to meet the needs of
Yeah.
somebody else.
Yeah.
Ministering is to serve somebody else.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's across the board for not just me,
Everybody.
for but for anybody. None of our experiences are
Yes,
wasted in
Karen.
God's
None of
hand.
them are
Yes.
wasted. None.
Please talk back to us. We are seeing your
We're
comments,
trying
even
to.
if we don't necessarily comment on it. We're trying to multitask. But we're going to take a quick break, a quick little commercial break, and we're going to come back and talk about something else, shift it a little bit. Please stay tuned.
Purchase your copy of A Pocket Full of Hope by Ayesha Daniels on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Indigo Books, iTunes, Walmart, and wherever books and ebooks are sold. A Pocket Full of Hope was written for anyone who is desperate to find the light and the presence of hope when life feels dark and empty. Through 31 days of anecdotes, Ayesha will make you smile, laugh, and cry. You will have the tools to motivate and encourage yourself to get up when life weighs you down, see the potential for change in any situation, and teach others how to do the same. Grab your copy of A Pocket Full of Hope by Ayesha Daniels.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for that commercial. Please, please, please get a copy of the book if you don't yet have one. And then talk back to me. Comment online, tag me, let me know what your favorite parts of the book are. I'd love to hear from you, okay? Thank you so much. Listen, for those of you who have not read the book, this is a little bit of a spoiler alert, but I believe it's day 21, we talk about the juicer. Can we talk about the juicer? Because for those of you who have read the book, some of you have reached out to me and asked me, did this really happen with the juicer? So let me give you a little brief synopsis. Okay.
Oh, you're gonna tell it? Okay.
You can interject if I get anything wrong. So my husband decided that he was going to buy a juicer, a Jack LaLanne juicer, a very fancy what?
You're telling it wrong already.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I didn't decide. I was watching an infomercial.
Okay, yes, you're right.
Around 2:00 in the morning one night,
because
and that infomercial decided for me that I was going to buy this juicer. As you were.
Early on in the marriage, we were very, very hooked on infomercials. Gosh. Because we would be up these late hours with the kids, and of course these infomercials are on. And I mean, we bought a lot of stuff. We bought, it wasn't just the juicer. Remember, we bought that spray, that paint that you spray.
It's a painter.
Yeah. We didn't know that we painted a red wall. We didn't know you had to cover all of your furniture before you use this thing. Oh my goodness. For like almost a year, every time we sat down on our furniture, our clothes were red because anyway, that was a disaster. But so we bought the Jack LaLanne juicer one night, and you were mostly using it because if you don't know that he loves gadgets, you know now, kitchen gadgets, appliances, small appliances, big appliances. So we have quite a few of them, but he bought the juicer and you were using it for a lot of things. You were juicing a lot of
things. Can I set it up?
Yes.
This was almost a $400 juicer. It was stainless steel. It wasn't even the regular Jack LaLanne juicer. Okay. It was a stainless steel juicer.
I hear where you're going with this. So it was a fancy juicer. So I decided to get in on the action, and I started making carrot juice with the juicer, and it was good carrot juice.
It was good carrot juice,
even though I was the only one drinking it.
Sipped.
You sipped.
You added cinnamon. I didn't like. You added cinnamon and cream or something.
I added nutmeg, not cinnamon. I added nutmeg and condensed milk. Chime in if you know what I'm talking about. I added nutmeg and condensed milk. It was good. It was good carrot juice. So anyway, one day I made carrot juice, and for whatever reason, I didn't clean the machine right afterwards. I think I was tired, or I don't know, but I didn't clean it right afterwards. I kind of pushed it to the side and I said, I'm going to clean it later. So later came, like a couple weeks later, I completely forgot that I forgot to clean it. And so when I finally went back to the juicer, of course, it was now filled with like fungus, mildew. Like it was disgusting. Yes, the only way to have carrot juice. Yes, the juicer was disgusting. Now we're already several years into our marriage, so let me just drop this in there. He knows at this time the weakness that my stomach has for these types of things. I have zero tolerance for like rotten food, like mildew, mold, fungus, anything like that. My stomach cannot handle it. So I asked my husband to please clean the juicer. he refused to clean the juicer. I don't know why. I think because he was trying to teach me some kind of lesson.
Principle.
But at this point, we're already years into our marriage, so I don't know why he was trying to teach me this lesson. Anyway, so I was like, well, if you don't clean it, I'm just gonna throw it out. Bev said,
good.
If you don't clean it, I'm just gonna throw the juicer out. And those of you who are married out there, and you've ever dangled a carrot, but no pun intended, but you've ever had to call your spouse's bluff. He called my bluff. So he said, okay, well then throw it out. And because I knew that I would never be able to clean it, and because he was not going to clean it, I threw the juicer out.
The stainless steel $400 Jack LaLanne juicer that I've got on an infomercial.
I threw the juicer out. Yes, I did. So there's a part in the book where I talk about the juicer and what happened, the process to me throwing the juicer out. But listen, the lesson in this, can we talk about the lesson? Talk about the lesson of the juicer.
What is the lesson of the juicer?
The lesson of the juicer
is hide your juicer from your wife, or she'll throw it away, or just make her juice for her.
The lesson of the juicer was that God sees us as valuable. And so even though we would be disgusted by things and have no more use for things, God never feels that way about us. And so he would never discard us.
That's what he revealed to you in the book. That's your revelation.
That's my revelation. Do you have something else?
No.
Now I could pull some marital lessons out of this.
No, that's part 2. Karen's already said she wants a part 2. No.
I just need you to explain to the people why you didn't throw out the juice, or why you didn't clean the juicer for me.
It was principle, because I asked you to clean it out. Again, you've already established you were the only one who was drinking it. And I think we had probably did we have kids then? Yes, we did.
Yes,
we had probably been through some things where you ate bread with mold while you were carrying one child.
See?
And, we had been through a number of things.
I already had mold trauma.
I just didn't. I think you probably gave me attitude about it, though.
I did. I did. But bottom line is he could have cleaned the juicer.
I knew you were going to set me up live. I knew you were going to wait until we went live to set me up.
I just need you all who are tuned in to please just go ahead and let me know. Let me know if I'm the wrong one. Let us know who is wrong in this scenario. Was I wrong to throw out the juicer, or was he wrong to refuse to clean the juicer?
You don't want to miss the after party. You really don't. We may have to stop the broadcast. You don't.
But listen, this book is filled with stories from my life, our marriage, experiences with our children that the Lord has allowed me to draw lessons from and to parallel them with scriptures and really just learn and grow. And so for those of you who have purchased it, I hope and I pray that it has blessed you in that way. For those of you who don't have it, again, please go ahead and get yourself a copy.
May I interrupt you for a moment?
Yes.
I meant to do this at the beginning, but I was too funny. I was too busy trying to be funny with the mask. I think it kind of threw people off because some people were like, why do you have on a mask? But I want to take the time to publicly congratulate you.
Thank you, honey.
Gosh. To congratulate you on publishing this book. And I'll tell you the reason why. I don't know if you had this in your notes or not, but you wrote this during a time that was very difficult. Not only is it a good read for other people who are looking for hope or who may feel that their pocket is empty, but this book is the manifestation of hope itself. This book only exists. It is only a reading piece of matter because of the hope that you had to have to push it out. In other words, you had a vision for something, you believed in something, but things went awry. When you started writing the book, my father got sick with cancer, second diagnosis, pancreatic cancer, and then it spread and he got sick and we went home and dealt with him for a week. And you were still in the middle of trying to write this book. You had to put some things on pause. You had some trouble with the publishers. There were some things going on there, but you still had hope concerning the book. Then your father took sick and he passed away, and you still push this book out.
No, I'm like, can we share Kleenex? We can share Kleenex. We're bubbled.
And I know, again, I don't know what you have in your notes. So if I'm jumping it, please forgive me. But you often remind me, as you often open it up, your father, the last message that he gave you, sent to you via text, was live your dream. And for so many years, it has been a dream of yours to be a published author. So I want to publicly congratulate you
Thank
for
you.
pushing through, because you could have given up. You could have put it on the table. But every time you'd open up your phone and look at that text from your father, Bishop Fisher, he would say, live your dream. You'd find another ounce of hope to go another day. During the edits, during the edits, you could have stopped, but you didn't. You kept going through, you kept pushing through, and now the book is here and it's blessing lives. So kudos to you for your courage and tenacity.
Thank you so much, honey. I appreciate that, and thank you to you as well. Because if you have the book and you read the dedication at the beginning, I say it in the book, but I was able to finish the last little bit of this book because you sent me away on a staycation.
I did.
And I needed that staycation for so many reasons. But that's how I was able to finish this. So I thank you for your love and your support and for always, always pushing me. And we're not just going to keep crying for this whole thing, okay? Let's get back to. But I thank you for your love and support and for always pushing me. We push each other, right? We push each other, and so I thank God for you. Okay, so let's get back to talking about hope, and I want people to hear from you. I want them to hear your testimony. But since we've been here, I mean, we have experienced. I know we kind of talked about, oh, we went from you not having a job to you becoming an actor, and now you're a pastor. But it wasn't an easy, smooth process. There were a lot of mountains and valleys in between. There were a lot of moments where I know you already said earlier where you were like, well, I know this is what God wants, but there were a lot of moments where I was like, this is not what God wants. Why are we here? What are we doing? You know? And I thank God that we were able to balance each other out, and we weren't both ready to jump over the edge at the same time. There was always someone that was kind of holding on. But there have been times that you've had challenges, and I've heard you say, you know, things used to come so easily for me, and now it's just so different. I've heard you say that. So can you elaborate on that? Can you talk about that and share it with the people?
When I was younger, as you said, literally things would always come so easy to me. In school, in elementary school, in high school, in college, I did not have to struggle. I always made good grades. I barely had to study for exams. It was like whatever was in front of me, if I wanted it. I was involved in arts.
That is not my
I was involved in the yearbook. I was involved in journalism. Then when I went to college, I started pursuing medicine. I could do medicine, but I didn't want to do medicine. So I dropped out and changed my major to communications, radio, television, PR. Shout out WSSU, Miss Roseboro. But those were the years when it really came easy to me. It was almost like anything I put my hand to just worked for me. It worked for me. But as I got older, especially after I moved here, it seemed like I had to work harder to get some of those things. Sometimes I would put my best forward, and it would be thrown back in my face. So I often question, what is going on? Have I guess for lack of a better word, lost my mojo? Have I like what is this? Am I washed up? Is this the end for me? What is going on?
Am I out of the will of God?
Am I out of the will of God? Why am I being treated this way? If I sow good, why is bad happening to me, to the ones that I'm sowing good to? You know, I even question if some of this were just the law of reciprocity manifesting itself because of some of the things that I had done when I was younger, because I didn't do everything right. I wasn't perfect. I did a lot of things to people. I wasn't a murderer, but there were times when I slighted people. There were times when I could have extended myself to people and I didn't. There were times when I took friendships for granted. And sometimes I internalized that pain. I internalized what it means, because now that I've grown and now that I'm older, I realize I cannot go back and take those things back. And whether you experience it now or whether you experience it later, there is a law of reciprocity that you must face. The Bible says, what you reap, what you sow, you will reap. Even if you have a right, if you sow it, you will reap it. So during this time period, I question a lot of it. Why is it so hard for me? Why am I struggling? Why can't I get the job? The jobs always came to me. The opportunities always came to me. And I think I just had to begin to just walk. I had to tap into God first of all, and I had to find the hope and just keep believing. In other words, I had to get to the place where rejection didn't mean the end for me. I just had to keep preaching. I had to believe in myself and what I represented so much that it didn't matter to me if 7, 8, or 10 people didn't like what I represented. I still had to believe in myself. Still had to believe in what I represented. I had to take everything that I had dealt with in my past, do my own therapy. Sometimes you have to do your own therapy. Do my own therapy and move forward. And that's why I kind of am the person that I am today. That's why I'm able to give to people today, because I came from somewhere. I didn't read a book. I didn't watch 3 seasons of Dr. Phil, and now I want to be a registered clinical counselor. No, not only did I do the book work, I've done the life's work.
Yes, that's important.
And another thing is, after a while, I realized I don't want to be miserable anymore. I just choose life. I choose hope. I choose life. So whatever is going on around me that isn't working out well, I still choose life. I still choose hope. And I say that from a spiritual standpoint, but also from a non-spiritual. I just choose life, period. Good life. I want to be around good people who are doing good things. I want to be connected with good projects. And the moment that I detect that it's not good, or that it has a level of toxicity that is unhealthy for me, I'm removing myself from it, because I refuse to live life without chains. I refuse to live life where I'm bound. With chains. I refuse to be bound, worrying about relationships and getting petty and this and that. If I determine that a connection, a project, a relationship, a person is toxic to me, I will kindly remove myself, and it's not personal, because I choose life. So when I lay my head down at night, I have no regrets. Now, I say my prayers. I thank the Lord for another day. If there's something that I need to correct, I go back and I correct it. And when I go to sleep at night, I have no regrets. None.
Wow. Okay, so I had to make a bunch of notes because there were so many things that you said. The first thing, well, it wasn't the first thing, but it was the first one that I wrote down. Rejection does not mean the end. That is such an important lesson for so many of us. Rejection doesn't mean the end.
Yeah.
Rejection is sometimes, and you wrote a song called Rejection.
I did write a song.
Your rejection was my protection.
I wrote it for Fantasia, and she rejected it.
Fantasia, call him.
She wrote it.
He's got a song for you.
I got a song for you, Fantasia. 2, actually.
2. But rejection sometimes is God's protection.
It is.
Rejection is sometimes God's redirection. Rejection is sometimes God's, I need another action. Resurrection.
Resurrection. There you go. Resurrection.
But rejection doesn't mean the end. And hope is acknowledging that, yes, I experienced this rejection, but there is another opportunity coming. There's something else ahead.
Ayesha, did you know that flowers can still grow in ash?
No.
Plants can still grow in ash. That's hope. Hope is that there's still a little something left. Hope is he has not hit for the 3rd time and counted me out just yet. Right. There is still, I don't care if he's 2 inches away from hitting you out. There's still a level of hope that you can come back from.
Yes. And that's,
you can still grow in ash.
I wrote that down too. You said there's still, no matter what, hope is a choice.
It's a choice. I choose it.
You have to choose it.
Yeah.
So even if you're in that ash, like you said, you have to choose hope. And I don't want to make it seem like it's just so simple, because there are a lot of things that weigh us down. Sometimes that ash stinks. Sometimes that ash is hot. It burns. Sometimes that ash is just a horrible experience, leaving us messy.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. But we can still choose in our minds. It's where it starts.
It's a choice.
Make that choice.
You have to want more. You have to want more than where you are.
Oh, yes, exactly. More than where you are. Yeah. Otherwise, you end up stuck.
Or you'll never get there. If you don't want more, you'll never get there.
Then you said you made a choice to not only hope, but to remove yourself from toxicity. And I think that's a big thing too, because sometimes we're attracted to the toxicity. Sometimes
Yes,
the thing
that's
that is
another level.
toxic in our lives is the thing that we love. Sometimes the person that is toxic in our lives is the person that we love, you know,
and are connected to.
But
we have to reset boundaries sometimes.
We have to reset boundaries and remove ourselves from that toxicity, because that toxicity will destroy us. And it's all in the path towards hoping, and which, like you said earlier, which I love, was hoping is knowing that God has something better
there
ahead, right? And then the other thing you said, you were questioning, you know, is what I'm experiencing a punishment for something that I've done
before?
Yes, there is the law of reciprocity. Yes, what you sow, you reap. That's scripture. But I'm so thankful that our hope lies in the fact that we've done so much against the holiness of God, but He doesn't reward us for what we've done against His holiness.
Yep.
He gives us this thing called grace. He gives us this thing called mercy. He gives us this thing called love. And though there will be consequences for the things that we have done, His grace comes in, and it's sufficient for us to survive
whatever
those consequences, to survive whatever it is that is the reciprocity, that whatever it is that we're reaping, right?
Because as long as you have breath, you still have a purpose.
Yes.
If you wake up tomorrow, that means you have a purpose for the day.
Yes.
If you live in the next hour, you have a purpose. There's something that you are assigned to do.
Yes.
The moment your work is done is the moment you go to rest. So if you're still here and you're squandering around and you don't know, you're confused. If you were like I was in a point where you were questioning this and questioning that, the fact that you're still breathing, the fact that you can still reach out to God, the fact that you can still pick up a book or tune into a broadcast means that you still have an assignment. There's something there for you to do. And when you hope, you're able to reach that assignment. You're able to figure out what that assignment is.
Yes. Yes, that's wonderful. Now, we don't have much more time left, but I want you to tell the people really quickly, because you're going through some challenges right now. For those who don't know, you've been experiencing what's classified as Meniere's disease, which is
or labyrinthitis.
They've
gone back and forth.
But it's vertigo, it's hearing loss. It's, for someone who is a singer and an actor, it's kind of traumatic, because those are things that you rely on a daily basis. For someone who's a pastor as well, for your whole life, you are experiencing this challenge. But you have been an encouragement to me, and now I'm going to cry. But you have been an encouragement to me, because you have determined in your mind that although I am experiencing this thing every day, when I wake up, and let me not say it, you tell the people, tell them what your mantra has become.
Okay, so first of all, before I say that, I think this is what we should do. I think when we reach the time, if we're not done, I think we should run the outro and just keep talking and let it keep recording. That way you can edit it down and go back and forth if we run out of time. So Cindy, I know you're listening, you'll catch this, but yes, it came down on me around June 18th, like 2 days before Father's Day, and I started getting dizzy. I was driving and for some reason, I just got dizzy, and then I started losing my hearing. And so today I still deal with vertigo, and I have about 15% of my hearing back now. My hearing went out completely at one point, but things are getting better. I'm seeing a physiologist. We believe in the natural and the spiritual. We put prayer on it. But yet we also believe that God has put science here on earth to help us, because God will heal either suddenly or He will do it over time. But we believe in God's healing. And so I'm seeing an ENT, physiotherapist. I've done an audio test. I've got an MRI scheduled next month, trying to figure out everything. But it has been very, very, very debilitating. Very debilitating in that, like you said, the first Sunday when it came down on me, Father's Day, I had to preach sitting down because I could not stand. I was so dizzy. And I just began to question what's going on. I actually questioned, am I going to get my hearing back? This is before it started coming back. I asked God, I was like, am I going to have to get a hearing aid? And the truth of the matter is, I didn't want one for myself at my age, but you have even children, you have teens, young adults who have hearing aids, but it was something I just didn't want for myself. So I'm not knocking those who have hearing devices. It was just all so new, and it was grappling. But I made a decision, and I told Aisha, I said, every morning when I wake up, I just believe I'm going to wake up and just be healed and not even realize it. I said, every morning I wake up saying, today is the day, or either it's already happened. And I still do it every morning. I get up and I listen out for the hearing, just believing I have hope. I have hope. And it's not just hope in the positive, but it's hope in Christ that he's going to do what he said. I'm not trying to preach, but he said by his stripes, we are healed. And so I'm here to say, okay, God, if you took those whippings, if you took those stripes, if you took those beatings for me, I want my healing. He said, if you abide in me and my word in you, you can ask what you will, it shall be done unto you. So I stand on it. It doesn't mean that I'm lying in the bed wallowing. And I do have some moments when it's really, really hard. I have some times when I can't walk. I have some times when I can't hear. There are certain frequencies of sound that literally pierce and hurt my ear. I just work through it. If I need to take a nap and reset, I do that. But I also want the boys to see what it means for us to hope, what it means to believe in God beyond what we feel.
Right.
The boys need to see that as well.
Right. And I like what you said there. You wake up with this expectation, you wake up with this hope every day, but you still have your moments.
Yeah.
And I don't want anyone who is tuned in this evening or who has been tuned in for the other episodes, I don't want anyone to take away from these hope talks that you can't have your moments.
You can have your moment.
You can have your moments. Hope is not that I'm always 100. Hope is not that I'm always on the mountaintop. Hope is not that I'm always in the throne room. But hope is that when you have those moments, you always find your way back somehow. Sometimes it takes a minute, right?
You find your way
back.
But
you find your way back. You find your way back to the word. You find your way back to prayer. You find your way back to people who will uplift you, who will speak life into you.
You have to center yourself. And even you and I dare say, we've experienced things, in the past 2 years with you losing your father. We've experienced things where we've had to do that. We've been in our place of feeling sad or being disappointed or feeling confused about things. But at the end of it, we still have to say, nevertheless, Lord, this is what you have allowed. So we have hope and we trust in you that you are going to take us through it. We have hope in you that things are going to get better. We don't even have to understand it. We can't explain it. Sometimes you can't fix it, but we have hope and we have trust in you. And that gives us the energy. That gives us the strength to rise again. That gives us the energy to smile when our kids come around, to keep them out of adult business, because we have to stop putting our children in adult business. Now that's another segment right there. That's another segment. But we have to keep our children out of adult business and give our children hope, because how our children see us go through things is how they will learn to go through things. Never giving up, being resilient, bouncing back, understanding that a better day is going to come.
Thank you so much. We are running out of time, honey, but I didn't even ask you if you wanted to plug anything. Do you want to plug anything?
Do tonight? I want to plug anything? What do I need to plug?
I don't know. What are you plugging?
They are installing me at the church as pastor at the end of the month. October 31st. I'm being installed as a pastor at purposechurch.ca. You can get all the details there. I'm very, very excited and honored. I don't want to speak on it yet because I know if I start talking about it and how I'm feeling, I'm going to start crying. So we're almost out. Now you had a question here. What's that question you wanted to ask me?
This what? No,
this right here. Did you want to do that? No, after the
okay. Real quick, we got 7 minutes, so I'm going to ask you this question,
and then I have a surprise for you. So we gotta.
Okay. And then I'm going to ask you to leave us with one final thought. And then I'm going to ask you to pray. If you can do all of that in 7 minutes, listen.
I'm a preacher. You can't do that.
No. But this is my question. Would you consider yourself a pessimist or an optimist?
Definitely an optimist.
Okay.
I used to be a pessimist.
Okay.
And you've seen some of my work. You've seen how I channeled. I used to write things like cold, gray, and blue, and all of these sad things because I couldn't see myself. I believed in Christ, but I couldn't see what the power of God could do for me.
Right.
So I'm definitely an optimist now.
Right.
I'm definitely an
Oh my
optimist.
goodness, but
Nothing
listen
is
to what
going
you
to
just
keep me
said.
down forever.
Listen to
Nothing.
what you just said. You were a pessimist because you couldn't see what God was going to do for you.
Or what he
And-
wanted to do
Oh my
for me,
goodness.
through me, with me, because of me, any of that for me that related to me.
Mhm.
Everything he's put in place is for our benefit.
Everything.
It's for our benefit.
Everything. Everything.
He doesn't need us, but he chose us.
Right. Right. That's so good. And I just love that. You were a pessimist because you couldn't see what God was going to do. But hope is not seeing what God was going to do, but still believing that
Still
he's going to do
believing.
something.
He's going
That's
to do
the optimist
something.
that you
I don't
are
know
now.
when, but he's going.
Oh,
I am an
thank you,
optimist.
Lord.
I am put optimist on my shirt, put it on my
Yes.
epitaph
Yes.
when my time is done. I am an optimist for sure.
Yes. Go ahead and leave us with one final thought, or is there something?
I have
that
a
you
surprise
wanna...
for you.
Oh gosh.
I have a
okay.
surprise for you. Okay.
Okay.
So earlier today, you and I were talking about this enunciation project. It's a song. This guy's singing a song and he's using a tongue twister.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to let you read the words, but I want to see if you can do this.
Oh my god.
It's a song. And it says, let me tell you what it says really quick.
Live.
It says, Betty Bitter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. So she bought some better butter and made her bitter batter better.
Oh
Okay,
goodness.
so it's a song. So let me turn the music up. So the guy's going to sing it for you one time. They should be able to hear it. Okay, this is you. Here you go.
Your turn.
Betty bitter bought some butter, but it made her batter bitter. If it makes a batter bitter, then it's batter bitter, bitter, batter bitter, batter bitter, butter, 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 butter.
Here we go. Betty Bitter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it'll make my batter bitter. So she bought some better butter, and it made her bitter,
You're
better,
just showing
better.
off. You're just showing off. Turn it off. You're just showing off. I promise you, after we stopped talking about this earlier, I did get it a couple times, and I will get it.
You did.
Listen, I'm gonna try it again. Follow me on Instagram or on Facebook. I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to post it for you all. I'm going to post the successful one. Well, I might post the other ones. We'll see how it goes. Thank you for putting me on the spot. Thank you very much. Listen, I want you to pray. We have 3 minutes. Please pray.
3 minutes.
Pray how you feel led
Okay.
for those who are tuned in.
I just want to say, don't stop. Get the book. I could say that all day, but even if you don't get the book, don't stop. Don't lose hope. God has something for you. He knows what's going on. He knows what's on the other side, even if you don't. But if you stop, you will die where you are. You can't afford to die where you are because there's something else left for you. Do not stop. Keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. No matter what, keep pushing in God, keep pushing in life. Surround yourself with positive people. I want to say how proud I am of you. You got through season 1. We're going to get through season 2. I don't know how it's going to be set up, but God's going to do it for you. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for this day and for this time. We thank you for being so good, and we thank you for being so kind to us. Thank you for your mercies today. Thank you for your grace, for your love and kindness and protection, peace and provision. I pray for everyone who's watching live. I pray for everyone who will be watching later, Lord, that you will just lift us up where we all belong. Lift us up to the place that you need us to be. I speak hope and pronounce hope over the lives of those who are watching right now, Lord. Let them begin to fashion their lives around hope, that when things come, when the storm comes, when they find themselves in ash or sinking sand, no matter what the situation is, Lord, your hope in you will always give them an answer, will always give them a push to the next level. Bless your people in Jesus' name. I sound like I'm speaking in church, but I'm not in church.
Thank you, Lord,
and we've got
BJ.
1 minute.
Thank you for my husband. Bless him. Open doors for him. Pour out your favor on him. Anoint him afresh for every task and every assignment that you've placed over his life. It's only up from here, honey. I speak it over you. I believe it for you, and I can't wait to experience it with you. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the season finale of Hope Talks. I love you all so much. Listen, if you know somebody who has a story of hope, a testimony of hope, or if you are that person yourself and you would love an opportunity to share, please reach out to me. Please share this episode. Go back and see the other ones. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. I love you all. Until next time, keep hoping. Hope is always always, always an option. I love you all
Here's
so
to
much.
season 1, baby.
Bye-bye.
You did it.
Ah.
Woo!